Even with voice control being accessible to nearly everyone these days, and apps living on all of our connected devices no matter how big or small they might be, for home automation control sometimes there's just nothing like having a good old-fashioned physical button. Hey everybody, I'm Joe DeGanzik, and this is Smarter Home Life. In fact, it's the third anniversary of the show. Way back in 2014, on this exact date, the show started as Lighting Answers, which talked about lighting, LED lighting, smart lighting, and of course how all that stuff ties into home automation. A year ago, the show was renamed, and of course the website as well, to Smarter Home Life, which kind of expands the scope of what I was doing here on the channel and across the website as well, and social media and all that good stuff. So happy birthday to the show. Anyways, and I apologize for my little strange sounding voice, but the show must go on. And speaking of the show, this episode specifically is really brought to you by you, because many of you have asked specifically for a review of these two products. And that would be, of course, the Philips Hue Tap and the Philips Hue dimmer switch. I took a look at the Philips Hue motion sensor last fall, so now this will add to the two of the three control products for the Philips Hue family. And speaking of them, part of this wouldn't be possible if they hadn't been so kind to send the Philips Hue for Philips to send the Hue dimmer switch our way for making this review and comparison video possible. So thanks, Philips. I'm going to be demoing, comparing, telling you all about these both devices. And to show off the lighting aspect, I'll be showing you how they interact with the Philips Hue Lightstrip Plus, which lights up my TV stand here, kind of underneath it, and the Philips Hue Go. It's a portable battery-operated light that works within the Philips Hue family. So let's get started and take a little bit of a closer look at both products. On the left, the Hue Tap has 4 individually customizable buttons which can trigger Hue scenes, and it requires no batteries as it uses energy harvesting technology to send its signals. On the right, the Hue dimmer switch is battery powered and can trigger 5 different Hue scenes and has dedicated buttons for on and off and brightness control. In terms of mounting both devices, they're pretty similar with a few different options. The Hue Tap has some of the ubiquitous 3M command strips pre-mounted to the back of it, which means they won't mess up your walls if you remove this. And of course you can mount or just simply place both of these devices simply on a tabletop or wherever is most convenient for you. They're totally portable, so that really helps out. The Hue dimmer has both a frame and the device itself, so you can pull the device off. This is it's just a tiny little device. This has got the batteries in it and whatnot. This is magnetically mountable, and it also has adhesive on the back. As I kind of joked about with the Hue motion sensor with magnets, you can mount it to just about anywhere. But we won't make a whole musical out of it. Obviously, you can. This will slide and snap right into place with the magnets, and of course, you could mount it to practically anything that, with the adhesive or any kind of surface that's like steel, like this 20-year-old home automation controller, or maybe not. I'm going to be comparing and contrasting and giving you the details on both devices as I go through the demos. They're very similar, but they go about things in different ways. And one of those ways, to be specific, is with the Hue dimmer. This is the only accessory that Philips has that lets you control the Hue lighting products directly without a Hue bridge. Many people have gotten into the Philips Hue ecosystem by buying one of the starter packs that has the bridge. It means you can use the app, you can tie it into other home automation systems, you can do all the magic that everyone talks about. If you just want on-off and, dim and brighten control like the buttons show on the Hue dimmer, you can get that functionality and only that functionality, no color changing or special effects, with Hue lighting. You can directly pair this because it is a Zigbee product. Pairing the devices through the Hue app to the bridge is pretty simple, but I'm not going to go through all that. I Already went through one example of that with the Hue motion sensor, and these are very, very similar. So there's tutorials, and it walks you through the whole process. But you can get back to them once you've added them by going under the settings. This is the current latest version of the app as of mid-April 2017. And so go to settings, and then you can go to the accessory setup. Here's both of my devices. These would be in yours as well. You can add more than one of each of these, so you can have dimmer switches everywhere and taps and whatnot. Let's go in and just start mucking with things. There's 4 buttons on the Hue Tap. The main face of it, which is selected right now, is just the big button that does stuff. And then the other ones actually are 2, 3, and 4. And I was, what I wanted to mention also here, and it's a little bit of a knock on Philips Hue. I'm not sure if it's a technical limitation or not. I have one room selected. You can have these buttons do any type of scene, any type of control, or control your entire home, everything connected to the bridge. You can control, it'll say up to 3 rooms simultaneously if you pick individual rooms, or you pick the whole home. The challenge is, like the button right now just does an off, and you can see that I've got the defaults from Philips. I've got scenes, some of which they created, some of which I created, and then also their light recipes, which are also defaults. You'll notice that if I go in and I say entire home, the scenes disappear and I just get the defaults from Philips, because the Philips Hue scenes in the Philips Hue app don't work across rooms, which I don't know why that is. You can get around this by using HomeKit, by using other home automation controllers, and other Philips Hue apps and whatnot, but the Hue app itself, the official one, has got these weird limitations. So I'm going to get out of that and go back here and select just the room I'm in. Set this back to off. You see, it's very simple. You can select any of these scenes. The scenes, you're not necessarily controlling individual lights, although you could set a scene to only have one light in it. The scenes that I've built, and I'm going to show you, and the pre-built ones that they kind of added as you add lights, do include both the Light Strip Plus and the Philips Hue Go light. So let's go, let's get out of that. This is the interface for pretty much both of these guys. I'm going to cancel the changes there. I'm going to go into the Hue dimmer. This will say now, here's the on, the bright, and the dimmer, and the off. These 3, the bright, dimmer, and the off, follow whatever you set up with the on button. If the on button controls your whole home, then these guys control your whole home. Same thing with a room. If I go in here and say where right now it's just one room, I can control up to 2 rooms simultaneously, or the entire home, or one room at a time. You can configure it as to your liking. So I'll jump back, and then you get the same type of thing, a little bit different interface. You can see here main space, or it's all main space because that's the room I have selected, but I can then control up to 5, I can activate up to 5 different scenes, or as you can see, a last on state. So the first press of that on button would be the last state, and probably color as well, of where those lights were in a particular room or across your entire home. And then the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th press in rapid fire sequence would then trigger relax, concentration, this blue, yellow, ignore the little icons, and purple, green, because that sounds really good, just some colors. So instead of going in, and it's the same interface, in terms of that you select which one you want. And if you're familiar with Philips Hue, you can go in and build these scenes and adjust these scenes in the Hue app. So here's the Hue Tap. I've got the Light Strip Plus lit up right now. It's part of one of my other home automation scenes. I can shut it off, and there it goes. Again, no delay, no lag. It's really wonderful. I'm going to bring both of these guys on to bright by pressing the button number 2. I can switch it to a color scene, one that I already pre-selected and pre-built, using button number 3. And button number 4 is you're not going to be able to really see it because it's really, really dim. I think it's their nightlight mode. And if I hold up the Hue Go, I think you can see just a little bit that's kind of lit up there. So that's the those are what I have controlled on the Philips Hue Tap. With the Hue dimmer switch, things are a little bit different. So I'm going to show you by initially shutting everything off, and you'll see that if I press the on button, the first button press was the on state, the last time things were on. So if I press it, you should be able to see just a little bit that this is really, really, really dim. Probably difficult to see there. Anyhow, if I press it again, it's going to go into the next setting, which was kind of brighter general lighting. This is concentrate, kind of more of a white energizing light. Blue and yellow, green and purple, and then of course the on state would be the same thing. So it's just going to go back, and I could do this kind of all day long, cycling through these various colors and scenes. Let's jump back to blue. Okay, so then if I use the brighten and dim keys on the controller, I can press and hold, and both of them will get brighter, maintaining their color, and I can dim them down independently, at the same time, and they're still maintaining their color. One kind of strange thing though that you would think would work but doesn't, that I kind of found, I'm not sure if it's a feature or a bug, if you dim it all the way down, it doesn't actually shut off. It just dims all the way down. So on other lighting, you may find when you're controlling them that if you press something off, and then if you press brighten, then it should come on. Like maybe it'll actually brighten up. Nope, you have to actually turn it on first, and then you can do stuff with it. So kind of a weird thing, but this does allow you to customize things quite nicely. Now, of course, you're gonna now see the difference in that everything on this controller is linked to the one room or two rooms or the entire home. These 4 buttons on the Hue Tap can be completely independent of each other, controlling separate rooms, the entire home, anything you want. So a little bit more flexibility, a little less flexibility, but this is also half the cost of the Hue Tap, which is about $50. These are $25 each. The Hue dimmer is. So different capabilities, kind of different applications too. Now you might say that this functionality for both of the devices may be a little bit constrained. Maybe it sounds like there's not as many options as you would like. Maybe something that might be more helpful would be to have the ability to have these buttons on the Hue Tap be, instead of just one press that does one thing, maybe a toggle would be better, or a dimmer function, which you don't have on the Hue Tap, but you do have on the Hue dimmer switch. So under the Explore tab on the Hue app is Hue Labs. This is kind of like a testing playground where they've developed all these little, let's call them little mini apps that you can enable on your Philips Hue bridge through Hue Labs in the app and gain additional functionality. You'll see that there's many different items. Some of them require different devices like the Philips Hue motion sensor. If you scroll down far enough, you'll get to where you start seeing the Hue Tap, the Hue dimmer switch, feel better with light, let's jump a little bit farther down, tap toggle, just like I was saying. Maybe you want something that'll actually just toggle back and forth instead of a one press, one action type thing. These are things that Philips is working on, they're trying out, and they might become functionality in the future in an actual real software release. But for now, they're kind of beta. So they've made it easier than ever to try these things out, and I really think they're cool. You can try them out and give feedback to Philips and go from there. That is pretty much it in terms of the demos. You can kind of put your imagination out there and springboard onto different ideas and ways to use these. And I think that overall, they do satisfy the need of having that physical push button, that muscle memory. You know where it is. It's mounted to a wall. You can reach around somewhere into a bedroom or another room that you need to see, that you don't need to see where you're reaching to because you know the physical button is there. And even on the Hue dimmer switch, you can actually do feel the separation between the buttons, and you do feel that obviously as well with the kind of the indented buttons on the Hue Tap. The question that is probably on your mind after watching the demos and seeing the specs and whatnot is, well, Joe, Which one would you rather have in your home? Well, that's a tough one to answer. If I was just going on the cool factor alone, kind of like the tech factor, I would choose the Hue Tap over the Hue dimmer switch. Why? Because, well, it's cool. The physical energy, the kinetic energy of you pressing down on one of these buttons is transmitting the signal without batteries to the Hue bridge. I think that's freaking amazing. I was totally geeking out to that when this was introduced. This is a different product. It serves a slightly different purpose. It's a little bit less configurable because you don't have individual buttons that can be individual rooms or your entire home. You're stuck with one room or multiple rooms or the entire home that affects this entire device. But this is half the price, and you do get the dedicated dimming and brightening and the off button and whatnot. By the way, if you do press the off button twice in rapid succession, everything turns off very quickly instead of a little bit of a fade. Just a little tidbit Easter egg. I'll put everything, bring everything back onto its last on state. They're good products. They're a good product to add to anyone who has Philips Hue lighting. And if you're new to Philips Hue, if you're new to home automation in general, you don't have a lot of other controllers or devices, these are excellent products. Like I've said before, physical buttons are definitely important to have, along with all the other pillars, as I've called them, of home automation, sensors and triggers and voice control apps, scheduling, all those kind of things. Physical controls are definitely important, so I encourage you to add a physical control of any type, but specifically if you've got Hue lighting and this stuff, these devices only work with Philips Hue lighting, they're definitely helpful. And especially if you're all in on Philips Hue lighting, you'll probably want to get a few of these and place them throughout your home. That is the end of the review. They're good products. They're a good addition to any Philips Hue home. You can use our Amazon links. They do help out the show. The Hue Tap goes for about $50. Sometimes these are on discount depending on what Philips Hue might be focusing on, and this is $25 as well. Amazon, they're available everywhere. If you use our Amazon links, they do help out the show. And speaking of helping out the show, we've got a new campaign starting literally in the next couple days for part of the 3rd anniversary. We're going to be going advertising free, kind of independent. It's going to be very, very exciting, and you can make it happen. Head over to supportshl.com, learn more, and please become one of our amazing contributors. Join the amazing fan base that is growing over there with our wonderful supporters. That is done through Patreon, a wonderful secure platform for creators like myself to earn a living based on what they do. So this show wouldn't be possible literally without your help. And that is it. Smarter Home Life is 3 years old, and I'm reminding you, it's 3 years old today and I can't talk. I am reminding you, Joe DeGanzik here, make your home just a little bit smarter every single day. It just takes a little bit of effort every single day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.